What I think is interesting is, I said before, Liverpool very focused. Kirkez is not a surprise. The only surprise would have been if he hadn't bought him, to be honest. Frimpong, it felt like it was moving that way from early in May. That's the way it moves, he ends up confirmed. Wirtz is a surprise in the first place, comes from nowhere, then Liverpool established themselves to getting the player. I feel with the centre-back question, I get the sense Liverpool might be a bit more prepared to play the field, to look at what the market's saying, than they have been previously so far this window.
100%. I think that the marker there is selling Quansah before getting someone in. You would expect, if they were worried about it, they would get someone in before they would get rid of Quansah. So I think they've got a plan there. I'm just not too sure who it is. I've heard the names bandied about, Gehi being one of them. I'm not sure about him because, for me, Quansah's quality and his quality aren't miles apart. I feel like Quansah's probably slightly better in the air, and as we've just been speaking about, he's got that Liverpool experience, playing in Europe, playing at higher calibre. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is something going on behind the scenes. I'm not too sure what it is, apart from the fact that the manager likes versatility. So I'd imagine it might not be a centre-back who can play left-sided and right-sided. It might be a centre-back who can play centre-back and left-back. Or it might be a centre-back and right-back, or do bits elsewhere, maybe a little bit of defensive mid. I'm not sure. I just don't see it being a one-stop shop type of player. I don't think it'll be a centre-back per se. So it'll be really interesting to see what the next steps are for us and who we're bringing in.
I think the first thing to work out is what's happening with Konate. Yeah. I mean, if Konate is leaning more towards leaving, then you're shopping for a Konate replacement. If you're confident you get Konate over the line, then it's a different signing, isn't it? And I think that's what they'll be looking at now. I don't know with Konate, I don't know what you feel about it. I think it's still a toss of a coin. I honestly don't know. It could be he's looking for more money, or it could be...
music's been a bit better the last couple of weeks, I think, hasn't it? In terms of it went from, it felt like it was a no to more of a yeah.
Yeah, but no, I'm genuinely interested to see what you think about him, because I don't know. There's some people who think he's definitely off. I think they just scarred by sense a little bit. I think there's some that think, you know, he's a massive character in the squad and he looks like he loves Liverpool. Might just be his agent playing the game. Ultimately, though, the point is, if Konate's looking like he's leaving, then it's a bigger signing to make now. If you think you get Konate over the line, then you're looking for someone who can maybe play for positions or maybe play second fiddle to Konate.
What do you think? Because I think this is one of those areas now where I think the homegrown thing now comes in a little bit.
Yeah,
that's where it feels like it's tightening. I think they've got room with the homegrown thing. I expect Chiesa and Nunez both to move on over the course of the window. Wouldn't surprise me if one more in the attacking area, who obviously by extension won't be homegrown, moves on. I don't think there's, maybe Tsimikas moves on, not homegrown, or it could be Robertson, he's also down as not homegrown. So there could be some, I'm not saying there's no wiggle room, but it's where it does begin to tighten.
We are over the top at the minute.
Yeah.
So to sign one non-homegrown player now, we need to sell two.
Yeah.
And that's before I think we've even considered this goalie. There's a Hungarian goalie who, for European terms, would be registered as well.
Yeah.
So there is quite a bit of... We are in a negative state with this. I think we've just sort of got to be looking around the Premier League in some ways. I think Gay was mentioned yesterday. There was a Nathan Collins thing which I probably have more interest in than Gay personally. I think if you can play for Brentford, you can probably play for most teams. In fairness,
how old is Collins though?
He's only about 25. He's not very old. Actually, he was at Burnley for a bit. Then Wolves. He's been Brentford 2 years now. I think he's looked like a decent Premier League centre back who probably reasonably well suited to something that we need.
25.
Yeah,
I think he'll come on for playing with better players.
I think he will as well. I think you're going to have to sort of do someone like that. And it might come across as like the name might end up. I think there'll be a name that's someone that we sign where people are like, are you sure? And it's a bit of a gamble, and B, it's also to fit this criteria that you wouldn't sign the same player if he was Portuguese, for example. But because he fits this thing, you sort of have to go, just see what happens.
Is that way though?
Yeah, it might well be. I think we've also got a bit of wiggle room in this centre. This centre back can be fourth choice. Quansah was fourth choice ultimately, and Joe Gomez is still there. Gomez can play both sides. He can do bits at full back. So you keep him, he is still able to do a lot of the heavy lifting, and it might only be that who you bring in starts 10 to 15 games on competitions next season. So it might not be, but it's the most important thing, but you still need a body, because we all remember that season where we tried to have a go at three centre-backs and then it turned out that we had none of those three centre-backs.
Yeah, but there's a thing with it, Phil, I think, though, where you can say you just need a body and you can say it's just 10 to 15 games, and that's very possible, but that's become such a sweet spot. Absolutely, because if you want someone in who you think, and the manager said about top quality all the time, you end up, I think, there's just a mini contradiction with it all, and I think it's an exceptionally difficult. I've got sympathy, and that's why I wonder if they are taking a breath, having a bit of a think, seeing what the market offers. Because if Liverpool are spending 40 million quid in every other position, Liverpool are putting 40 million quid on the pitch.
Yeah.
There's nowhere else where Liverpool don't put 40 million quid on the pitch. Everywhere else it becomes the money, the wage that goes on the pitch that plays on a regular basis. You know, so I don't think you're going to get that many that are Liverpool class for 8 or 10 million.
No, I think that's sort of what I say about you might get a name where it's a bit like it's not a 40 million lad. It might be something that you think is.
That's positive about Canate. Back to what I was saying
exactly,
before.
yeah.
It's an 8 to 10 million pound player that comes in as a definitely forward choice. It's positive news about the Canate situation.
Like you think about when they signed Shimmerkas, and there's a lot of things to be said negative about Shimmerkas, but ultimately he's coming in, he's been a valuable squad player who's done things and he only cost 8 to 10 million quid.
Yeah.
It shows that if you get the right one, they can serve a purpose, and it might not be I don't really want to watch a centre back equivalent to Kostas Shimmerkas play 40 games for Liverpool next year, but it might be that you can get one in who does that 10, 15, and maybe then you look at him in a year and go, actually quite good, you know, I'll be happy with him next year, and he can do 30 now. It is the thing where you sort of have to back these people and let them get on with what they're doing and go, okay, I'll have to trust you, which I think they've earned in fairness.
I hope you're enjoying this free show at the moment. Loads of excellent, exciting stuff on the Anfield app. If you want to be part of the whole thing, you can download the Anfield app and go from there. Or you can subscribe via the YouTube membership as well for video-only content and other bits and pieces. We love doing these shows. We love that you watch them. So come, be part of the journey with us.